Okay, so in this video, I'm going to cover several things that you could do to help manage your computer. Systeminfo will give you a nice breakdown of the computer, the build, all the stuff that you need to. Same thing here. It's right here. Says basically the same thing. Hostname, OS, and a bunch of other pertinent information. So you should study this page. Print it out and study it just to kind of take a look at it. One of the things also to note here, if I could scroll, but it's best to use these little triangles, these little up and down arrows here to scroll. Not what the way I was doing is kind of like the hard way. Okay, right here. So anyway, these hot fixes, sometimes they become problems. Sometimes it might be that you got to remove one, or sometimes you have to confirm that you have a specific one. So they start with KB. Okay, so I think KB stands for knowledge base, and then each one has a number. So this is basically, these are updates and fixes, hot fixes and stuff like that. So that is Systeminfo. Okay, so let's clear screen. Okay, so the next one is time and date. Okay, there's time, and then there's date. Okay, so I just press enter, so I don't have to enter a new time or a new date. Your computer has a small battery in it. It's called a CMOS battery, and in that battery, it looks like a watch battery. That battery is in your motherboard and it should be there. If it's not there, or if it's run out, it's like this doesn't work anymore, that means that your time and date will be wrong. And if your time and date is significantly wrong, one of the biggest problems you'll run into is that if you try to go online, it will fail. It won't allow you to connect to a particular website. It won't open the website correctly because there's a thing called a certificate, and most websites have a certificate, and it's going to check. One of the things that it will check is the correct time and date on your computer. Okay, when it does that and it finds that your time and date is like really off, it will give you an error. It will not allow you to connect. So it's kind of an interesting thing to realize. I came across that years ago for the first time, and I had an error that popped up when I tried to connect to a website. And then I looked at it from another computer, and then it told me, the time and date was wrong. I was like, then I looked at the time and date, which is right here, which you could adjust here. You could just right click and go to time and date here. You can make changes in the GUI. But even after I made changes, the computer had the problem again later on. Well, the problem was the CMOS battery. That little battery that's in the that's installed on the motherboard was failing. So every time you turn off the computer, there's no battery there for it to remember the time and date settings. So that little battery remembers the time and date setting. Without it, if it's a bad battery, it won't remember, and as a result, you won't be able to get online. So something to understand and know about. Okay, so that's important. The next one is kind of similar, another brother or sister set of commands. It's task list and Taskkill. So if I do Control Shift Escape, what you're going to see here, I already did this. Let me right click. What you normally will see, you'll see something that looks more like that. Okay. On here, I could kill any task. Okay, so let's say I open Notepad, and there's Notepad. Okay, and I should be able to, there it is. I should be able to see it, and I could right click and I could end that task. I don't know if you noticed, but it killed that task. Okay, so I could do that with task list and Taskkill. So task list is just a list of everything that's running. Okay, so I'm gonna open, notice like there's no Notepad here. I'm gonna open up Notepad. Okay, and then I'm gonna run task list again, and you're gonna see now the second time it shows me Notepad, and it's gonna show me the process ID number. Okay, so if I scroll up here, let's take a few tries. Okay, so notice image name. These are all image names. Okay, all these names on the left, and then process ID. Okay, they're unique numbers. There's no two process IDs that's exactly the same number. Okay, and also it shows the memory usage. Okay, so what I could do is I could kill a task in the command line either by the image name or the process ID number. Okay, so now I'll go ahead if I need to. I'll just copy this if I need to. Okay, and I'll put that there if I need to. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do Taskkill. Okay, / question mark, so you see the switches involved in that. So if I scroll up here, the first few are not that important right now. System specifies the system, the domain, the password, filter. Okay, we're focusing on this one, this process ID number, and that image name. The /t terminates the process and any child processes. Something you should know that when there's a process of any kind, like let's say Chrome, there'll be other child processes that are also going to be working in the background. They're dependencies. Okay. This one f/f that specifies to forcefully terminate. So it'll force it to terminate and close. Sometimes it's best to use concurrently. Okay. So now what I could do. So now I know what I want to type. So I could do Tasklist so that I could see all the processes and I could see the notepad is the process ID is 18692. So I could do Taskkill. I do /f space /s. Remember, those were the two. Oh, actually, it was T. Those are the two switches. Force and terminate were the two switches that I want to use. And then I need /process ID number. Now, right after I do /PID, I need to have that number. So in this case, for Notepad, it's 18692. So 18692. And after press enter, notice it gives me a success. This process with PID number 18692, child process of PID 6384 has been terminated. Okay, so it took care of it for me. So I could start a process. I could start any kind of application like this as long as Windows knows it. I could just type in the name of the application as we did in the past for the command prompt. I could do another one. Notepad again. Okay. And if I do Tasklist, notice now there's two of them. Oops. There's two of them here, there and there. Okay. So what I could do here is I can, let's say, Control A, Control C, Control V. I'll give this a little time. Okay. Then I'm going to do Tasklist again. All right. Now notice one is significantly bigger than the other. This is the amount of memories taken up. One is 14,000, the other is 15,000. Okay, that's because that little bit more, kilobytes are required for this one here, which has the text on it that I just copied and pasted. This one's completely blank. So that's one trick you could use sometimes to figure out which is which. Okay. Typically, anyway, you're going to want to just close all of the tasks. But if you want to be a little bit more like for sure about it, this is one way you could do it. So I'll just do the same thing. And I'm just going to change the process ID number. So I'm going to use the bigger number because the bigger number implies that it's the one with the data on it that I just typed in. I'll copy and paste it. So 3632, and I press enter, and there it goes. It killed it. And notice this one's still alive. So if I want to kill that one, I got to change the process ID number again. So luckily it's still there because I did the task list 016. I think I got that right. 13016. Press enter, and it kills the other one. Now the other way I could do it is just so let's delete this part. I could do the image name, right? And I could call it Notepad. Okay. Oops. So I could open up Notepad this way. All right. So then, what did I do wrong? Okay, so .exe, and there it is. I should have typed in that .exe so it knows for sure, because all these processes have the executable at the end of it. So you see how that works. So the image name would be here. Okay, that's the image name on the left, and then the process ID number is there. So if I just want to kill everything, like let's say I open up a bunch of notepads, or rather this way. Let's just do it this way. 1, 2, 3. So I got 3 notepads going, right? And then I use that same /im for image, and I type in notepad.exe. So all of these executables called notepad. I'm not giving it a specific ID. I'm just saying close all of them. And there it goes. Okay, so that's how task list and Taskkill works. If I go to the GUI, I could do the exact same thing. And what's good about it, now by default, it does not show you the process ID, but if you right click and you select process ID here, it'll give it to you. So see, next to the processes, there's a process ID. So if I do notepad again, and it pops it up, you see that the process ID is there. So that's another way to get the process ID. You could also right click and type and select a command line that gives you the actual executable where it is. Okay, so that could be useful. So, but most of it is I would probably just use the process ID in here if I needed to. And like I said, you could just come here, right click, and task, and you could do it that way too. Okay, so the next one is called, this one's easy, this is hostname. Okay, you can see that that's my hostname. So if I go into the GUI again, oops, okay, and go to the properties of the computer, device name, there it is, sometimes called device name, sometimes host name. Okay, a host is basically another name for a computer. A node, a host. You'll see that over time there's actually more than one term that they'll use to mean basically the same thing. It's just a slightly different context. Okay, that's why you should also use the terminology as much as you can. Force yourself when you're in class to start using the terminology. Every time you learn a new word that's specific to computing, use it. Okay, it's going to help you get better in, as a professional, get better faster. Okay, so there it is, and then I could even go to I could go back all the way to Systeminfo, and when it produces the results there, if you recall, hostname is listed here again. It's always the same name. Okay, hostname, node, or what else was it? Hostname, node, DC name, all the above. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so that's it, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next video set. No, that's not it. Okay, so the last one here, which I can't really do, but it's Shutdown, and I'll just show you the command itself. Shutdown, the main thing is that you can shut down the computer with a /s, okay, or you could restart the computer. Let me see, where is that? I think it's an R. I think it's an R. Full shutdown and restart the computer. Okay, those are the ones I use the most if I use the shutdown. So there's other variations. You can log someone off. Okay, so that's okay too. You can do Control L to lock. You can do log off here. This forces the log off. So shutdown is again, I can't demonstrate it because it'll shut me down. But you guys could try it. Okay, so it would be like shutdown. R for restart, for example, or shutdown and /s. That's just to shut down the computer. Okay. So if you do use a command, you could even type in one of these letters to it'll remember what reason you shut it down. And that's not really that important anymore nowadays. That's more important for our server because it'll keep a record of why it was shut down. But we're not gonna You wouldn't normally do that in the real world. You don't need to worry about it unless it's a server, unless you had a boss or policy that was really strict. But I just do shutdown/s, press enter, and you're done. Okay, so that's it for this video. We'll go on to the next one.